The following is a paid program, and the views expressed on this show do not represent the views of WJZ AM, Intercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
The following is a pre-recorded show.
A Maven, an expert, an authority, a connoisseur, a specialist, a professional, a knowledge king, a rock and roll sports talker. Koons Ford of Security Boulevard is proud to present The Sports Maven with Bruce Posner, a no-holds-barred look at the sports world. Now, here's Bruce Posner, The Sports Maven.
Well, it's 33 hours before the big game. This is Koons Ford presents The Sports Maven. And who else would I bring in for the big game but the big guy himself? And that, of course, is Dennis Kalatzis, Chief Operating Officer of Koons Ford, our chief sponsor and an extremely close friend of mine. Dennis, I just sent you a picture of me and Zach and Paul and you at Super Bowl 47. That was quite a day, wasn't it?
We had so much fun. You know, your son and your son-in-law are just such great guys, and we just had such great camaraderie. And the walk to the stadium, who could ever forget about that?
Never, ever forget that. And it was such a great day, and we celebrated before, we celebrated afterwards, but it was certainly a happy plane ride home the next day, wasn't it? Yeah,
it certainly was. It was a lot of fun, Bruce, and what an outcome, right? We had the 85-minute halftime delay, and that game had everything, including an historic goal line stand by that Baltimore Ravens defense to bring home Super Bowl number 2 to the city of Baltimore.
All right, for sure. Maybe we'll get a few more. I hope so. Dennis, here we go. The game, all the talk is over. Everything is done. That spread is wavering between 3 and 3.5. What it is, only matters for the bettors. But at this point, tell me why. I know you're a Kansas City guy. Why is Kansas City going to win? And is it their defense you're beginning to believe in?
Yeah, I think their defense, Bruce, you make a great point there, has been very much under the radar. The Honey Badger back there, he's taking care of business. And Steve Spagnuolo, their defensive coordinator, he's done well against Tom Brady and company in many years past. So I do like the Chiefs defensively and offensively. Bruce, although their tackles are out, they can still score touchdowns in bunches. They're explosive. They have a penchant for falling behind, but man, they can make it up in a hurry. So I do like Patrick Mahomes to earn back-to-back championships here.
All right, I'm going to present you some reasoning as to why I believe Tampa will win this game. And I'll be honest with you, it's coming from experts from ESPN, and it's called simulated pressure. The Ravens have been known to do this. Wink does it. And what they will do is they will line up 7 guys on that front line before the play starts, or maybe 6. And they're going to attack Mahomes from one side. So it's going to be a simulation that it's an all-out blitz, but it's not. Somebody's going to drop back and take the tight end. Somebody's going to drop back and take whoever. But one side is going to attack. All right, Patrick Mahomes, the Atlanta Falcons did it. They confused the Chiefs in pass protection. They crowded the line over and over again with mug looks. That would be fake looks, occupying the A-gaps. That's on either side of the center. And then sometimes it would send in traditional zone blitzes. But they had 10 simulated pressures from the Falcons, disrupted the Chiefs on offense. Bruce Arians is going to pull out all the guns to win this game. And the one thing about this game, why it's going to be great, is because we do have 2 riverboat gamblers. Andy Reid will go for it on 4th down, and so will Bruce Arians. But I just love having the GOAT on my side. Does any of that make sense to you?
Well, it's all, well and good on paper, but you have to remember the Chiefs can run the ball. They have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the rookie who, at this point of the season, is a grizzled veteran. He's good between the tackles. He's good out of the backfield. Got great hands. And with Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, I mean, they have such quick strike capability. So although they may be able to pressure Patrick Mahomes from one side, then you have to take your poison. You're going to leave the whole other side open. And I do think that the X factor in this game is Kansas City's defense. I think they're very under the radar. They're a lot better than what they're given credit for. I mean, Tampa Bay's defense is very, very fast. Their linebackers are lightning quick. But I do like Kansas City's defense to give Tom Brady fits. And let's not forget that Tom Brady 2 weeks ago threw 3 interceptions against the Green Bay Packers' defense.
Yes, he did, but he found a way to win it, unlike Aaron Rodgers.
Did he win the game? Did Green Bay lose that game versus Tampa Bay winning that game?
A little of each. But at the end of the day, the GOAT outperformed the greatest, all right, Mr. Aaron Rodgers. And while we're on that topic, what do you think of all his posturing? To my eyes, is just to get another guaranteed contract. It's a lot about nothing. In other words, he wants to be the one who decides when he leaves the Packers. He doesn't want the Packers to be on a situation where they can say, all right, goodbye, Aaron. You got whatever you wanted, and now you're cut. And I think that's what it's all about. I don't see any way he leaves the Packers.
Bruce, keep in mind, they did him a gross disservice in this past year's NFL draft by drafting quarterback Jordan Love in the first round. This was a draft deep in wide receivers, and had they taken a top-notch wide receiver instead of Jordan Love, maybe, just maybe, the Packers would be playing in the Super Bowl this week versus sitting at home. So I don't blame him for being mad. I don't blame him for wanting to get paid. This is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and you know what? He's earned the right to whine and to posture. That's my opinion.
Well, he's not in the big game. He's lost 4 out of 5 in the NFC Championship. He's got 1 Super Bowl. And we'll leave it at that. But no, he's great. You got to look at the over. Every game he ever plays, he's been fantastic. But I just love the Bucs in this game. And I tell you what else, Dennis. I'm going to have a segment coming up after this first one, and we're going to talk about the prop bets. But the one bet I want to ask you about, over under 56.5, or now it's 57. Most people love the over on it. I don't. I think that these defenses are better than people think. And certainly there'll be a little bit more caution in this game. What's your take on that?
Well, you know what? It's a very interesting prop bet there, Bruce. I think it's a high-scoring game. I see 60-plus points being scored, because of how prolific these offenses are, how quickly they can strike. And I think if the defense is just slowed down, the offenses, you'll still see over 60 points scored between the teams. I'm seeing like a 37-30 type of a ball game.
Very well could be. And, a lot of people say it'll be the last team that has the ball that wins. Because both Brady... So. Well, let's say Brady is the best at that. But Patrick Mahomes, when he's had to do it this year, has been incredible in generating that final drive. But, let's look at this from another angle right now. I don't think that you and me even though we're certainly homers per se and we love the Ravens and everything, I think at this point in time, looking at the Chiefs, looking at the Ravens don't have the answers yet. So my question to you, Dennis, is what are the answers for the Ravens to get into that stratosphere where Kansas City is?
Well, they need more in terms of offensive firepower, Bruce. They need another pass-catching tight end. They need another wide receiver 1. Everybody says, well, they shouldn't take a wide receiver in the draft. Well, I don't know where you're going to get one. They don't have that much cap space. And this is a pass-first league. As much as this team wants to run the ball, you can't make up deficits, without being able to strike quickly. I mean, the Chiefs went down 9 points to the Bill in the first quarter, and nobody panicked. We go down a field goal to the opposing team, and everybody hits a panic button because they're just not built to come from behind. They're not built to strike quickly. So, there's a lot of good wide receivers coming out in this year's draft class. There should be one that they like towards the end of the first round. But to me, I'd go heavy with wide receiver, tight end, got to throw safety in there someplace for depth. An interior offensive lineman, but they need that plus some help The Ravens will be one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the league next year, but the trouble with that is that the best team in the NFL the last 2 or 3 years has been the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's something that they have to address it, Bruce, and they're going to have to play a perfect game in order to take out the Chiefs in the current state.
Well, they're going to get a crack at them regular season next year, and that's one that I'll go no matter what. You and me will sit together on that game no matter what. All right, and certainly when Aaron Rodgers comes into town. What a home schedule they have next year, Dennis.
Yeah, it's a terrific home schedule, and let's hope everybody's vaccinated by that time, and we've got this COVID thing a little bit more under control so that we can go out and enjoy sporting events.
Yeah, I sure hope so, because it would be horrible if this continues. But all right, they re-signed Nick Boyle. And Nick Boyle, I think, a very underestimated part of the Ravens team. And from the time he went down, wasn't quite the same team, was it?
No, he's basically your 6th offensive lineman. He also has decent hands, but boy, he got the offense down packed. He knows what he's doing. He assists the guards and the tackles in double teams. He takes out middle linebackers and outside linebackers and safeties, and he's an integral part of that Ravens offense. It was nice to see the team show him some confidence. He must be doing a great job rehabbing, and we get him back, and Ronnie Stanley next year, and a few others, Tavon Young. Every year, Bruce, the teams need to be healthy in order to have a shot to go to the show. And this year, the Ravens were unlucky. The offensive line was decimated by injuries, and with a measure of good health next year, they'll have a shot to get into the playoffs and make a deep run.
Do you see, Dennis, a Orlando Brown problem coming up? Because he substituted for Ronnie Stanley after Ronnie got hurt, and he really played a great left tackle. So left tackles make a lot more than right tackles, and now what does Orlando want to be? He wants to be a left tackle. Are the Ravens going to be able to solve this dilemma?
I hope so, but it's up to him. I hope he doesn't sit out the year. I hope he has some common sense about him. I hope he plays lights out and keeps providing value for himself. But he doesn't have the feet, Bruce, to be a left tackle in a normal offense, meaning an offense that's going to pass the ball 60% of the time or better. He has very slow feet. His feet are so slow that he wouldn't make it as a right tackle in a normal offense. What makes him stand out, Bruce, is his run-first scheme that the Ravens employ, and also Lamar Jackson. He makes all of his offensive linemen look better when they're run blocking, not so much so when they're pass blocking, Bruce. So he's a liability when it comes to pass protection, particularly at left tackle. And I hope somebody hasn't filled his head with notions that he can play left tackle in this league consistently, because he can't.
No, it's funny we talk about guys who replace guys, and we look at what a great backup RG3 was to Lamar Jackson, supporting him, telling him what to do, emphasizing on getting out of bounds and not taking the bad hits. And then we got the Dolphins. I don't know if you saw the article, but Ryan Fitzpatrick, the backup quarterback for the Dolphins, has been just all over Tua, tell him not to worry about his few bad games, that he's going to be great, that he's seen guys that are great in this league, and he's heading to it. And when you got a guy like Fitzpatrick on your team, you really have a winner, don't you?
Yeah, you do. He wants to play. He said he wants to play another couple of years, and you know what? He can flat out throw the ball. We saw them come in against the Raiders and leave the Miami Dolphins back. There's a guy I would have liked to have seen in the Ravens uniform at some point in his career. Remember the game with the Bills? He came into the M&T Bank Stadium and threw for almost 400 yards and took us into overtime. I believe, Bruce, that was 2012, right? And when he had Stevie Nelson out there throwing the ball to him, and he can always play, Harvard guy, smart guy, and it's good to see that he still has a passion to play another couple more years.
Yeah, without question. And listen, so how does this game go? I mean, do you think, there's always a big argument, does the first team who gets the ball score? I think that could very well likely happen in this game, don't you? Because you have such two potent offenses, and I think maybe the defense is going to need time to settle down.
Yeah, those teams can score any time in any situation, Bruce. And as a fan, and I'm sure you feel the same way, I do want to see the game get down to its last possession, right? The team with the ball with a chance to win, whether it's the Buccaneers or the Chiefs. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't want to have a dog in the fight. I don't want to see a blowout. I want to see a very good game. And I do think that the fact that the Chiefs' offensive line has been compromised does give Tampa Bay a better chance.
Right, and you know they're going to be flipping Shaquille Barrett around left and right because he really proved to be lethal in that last game and against Green Bay. And probably if you had to pick a silent MVP of that game, it was Shaquille Barrett and that guy Woodhead, who I believe is back. And if both safeties are back for Tampa, I'm telling you, I just have that feeling that it's so tough to repeat. It's so tough. And to repeat against the GOAT and lay points to the GOAT, to me, you're talking about a 6-time Super Bowl winner. Nobody thought that they would be back in the Super Bowl this year. I did pick them to be in the Super Bowl against the Ravens. And unfortunately, you know how that went. But I just feel confident that, they got the weapons for Brady. Michael Evans is great, and this guy Godwin is great. But, I think that if Kansas City wins, in my eyes, your MVP could be Travis Kelce because they're going to stop. They're going to stop, if you can, Tyreek Hill. Now, when I say stop, I don't mean that he might not get 100 yards catching, but he's not getting any 269. All right? There's no way in the world. No. And that's going to leave Travis Kelce with a little bit more opening, and he doesn't really need that opening because he's so great.
Well, you also have McCole Hardman, who can just flat out fly, right? He may even be faster than Tyreek Hill, and if they double up on Tyreek Hill, somebody else will be single covered, whether it's Kelce or McCole Hardman. And, the way that Andy Reid uses those guys and schemes them to get open, I can't underestimate it, but it should be dynamic, a terrific Super Bowl, and the defense, I think, will definitely matter. They'll make a difference, and I think the defense that has a better day will help their team come out on top at the end.
Yeah, I think the better defense will win this game, as normally happens. The underdog has won 12 of the last 20, but overall it's about 50-50 as it should be. The favorites have won more. But I just this could be a great one. All right. Did they ever figure out a number as to how many people they're going to allow?
I've heard 20,000, and Bruce Arians says he hopes they're all Tampa Bay fans and that they all make noise. So I think there'll be enough to make a difference. We've seen the crowds in the $15,000 to $20,000 range, Bruce, have been almost as vocal as sold-out stadiums. They bang on the seats. They're screaming at the top of the lungs. They understand that to give their home team an advantage, and that's the other piece of it too. Tom Brady will have played already 8 games on this field this year, so he should be more familiar with it than his counterpart. So all these things matter. All these things factor in, and I expect a very close Super Bowl.
Dennis, before we let you go, you're going to be on, of course, every week with me, but just out of curiosity, because I know we got a lot of people listening to this Saturday morning. You're Eric DaCosta. You got to sign Lamar Jackson. What kind of money are you going to give Lamar Jackson?
You know what? As a business person, I'm going to give him as little as I can possibly get away with. But with that said, the market sets that, and I'm guessing about $35 million a year guaranteed for about 5 years. I think that's the market for a quarterback of his caliber. And if they believe in this young man, and they have no reason not to believe in him, but we still think his best football is ahead of him. He can get better as a passer, and as he continues to grow and matures. But the only question I have is whether they extend him this year or next year, Bruce. And I think the prudent and business thing to do is to extend him next year, not this year, because the salary cap, they won't know what it is until March 17th when the new league year commences. So they need to be prudent in how they spend their money.
Without question. Dennis, what's going on at Koons Ford? Everything still rocking and rolling, I know. Did the new year bring you still the great finance deals?
Yeah, great finance deals, super low rates, and we have, I've got about 600 vehicles coming in. I've got Broncos, I've got Mach-E's, I've got the all-new 2021 F-150, I've got a bunch of Super Duties that nobody else has. And, it's just an incredible time to come out and see what we have, and Ford's doing well. Ford stock is rising, which is always great to see, and we're off to a very good year thanks to, our affiliation with wonderful people like you who continue to refer other friends to us.
Well, the list gets longer, and I do understand that my guy, Scott Connor, bought 2 more cars from you. He's trying to catch up to me, isn't he?
He's a good man. Scott, we love when we see Scott in our showroom. He's such a pleasant young man, and we love seeing him.
One thing about Scotty, when he shows up, he's coming to do business, right? There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, he's not kicking tires. He's not shopping. He's buying. He's a buyer, not a shopper.
Nah, he loves you too, man. All right, Dennis, have a great week. Enjoy the game. Have a great Saturday. Sell a lot of cards, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday on Koons Ford Turf Talk.
Thank you, my friend. Go Ravens, go Terps.
All right, back in a few minutes here on CBS Sports Radio 1300.
Do one thing to protect the environment. It all starts with just one thing. February is a great month for something sweet, like honey. And honey can be very eco-friendly as well. So get to know your local beekeeper. Locally produced honeys have a smaller carbon footprint, and local farmers markets are a great place to find them. Make sure your beekeeper only sells surplus honey and never uses any acids or chemicals in the hive. And lastly, ask if they make any products from the beeswax, like soap and candles. It all starts with one thing. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
What an honor it has been to be a spokesman for such an incredible organization like Koons Ford of Baltimore on 6970 Security Boulevard. My family, close friends, and I have purchased over 40 cars and trucks from Dennis Kolotsits over the years. I have sent Koons many, many customers, and every one of them has heaped praise on them. What makes Koons Ford on Security Boulevard so superior is its hands-on approach in satisfying every customer's needs. Whether it's the sales staff, the service and body shop staff, Koons is a 100% caring dealer. The new and used inventory is incredible, and Koons believes in making every deal possible. Koons uses its fantastic reputation and its volume of business to get just about every deal approved. Baltimore, when you need a new or used car or truck, make sure you get to Koons Ford Baltimore ASAP. Call 410-298-3800. In selecting a professional, you always look to the backgrounds of the persons involved, particularly involving their experience, competence, and established performance. In Maryland, there's one number one leader with regard to personal injury claims, and that's the firm of Science & Kirk. Science & Kirk have handled more auto accident cases than any law firm in the history of the state. The Science family is on their third generation of attorneys that extend all the way back to the 1920s. Donald and his three sons make a formidable team representing their clients. Call their hotline 24/7 at 1-800-LAWYERS for assistance. That's 1-800-LAWYERS for assistance from Science & Kirk. What an honor it has been to be a spokesman for such an incredible organization like Koons Ford of Baltimore on 6970 Security Boulevard. My family, close friends, and I have purchased over 40 cars and trucks from Dennis Kolotsits over the years. I have sent Koons many, many customers, and every one of them has heaped praise on them. What makes Koons Ford on Security Boulevard so superior is its hands-on approach in satisfying every customer's needs. Whether it's the sales staff, the service and body shop staff, Koons is a 100% caring dealer. The new and used inventory is incredible, and Koons believes in making every deal possible. Koons uses its fantastic reputation and its volume of business to get just about every deal approved. Baltimore, when you need a new or used car or truck, make sure you get to Koons Ford Baltimore ASAP. Call 410-298-3800. Since 1915, Atman's Deli has been serving up the best delicatessen in Baltimore on 1019 East Lombard Street. Atman's is open 7 days a week with an incredible menu, including all your delights. Call Elaine for all your catering needs at 410-563-2666. Remember, Atman's is open every Ravens game in the stadium at Section 118. Nothing is better for me than a pastrami sandwich at Atman's Deli. In selecting a professional, you always look to the backgrounds of the persons involved, particularly involving their experience, competence, and established performance. In Maryland, there's one number one leader with regard to personal injury claims, and that's the firm of Science & Kirk. Science & Kirk have handled more auto accident cases than any law firm in the history of the state. The Science family is on their third generation of attorneys that extend all the way back to the 1920s. Donald and his three sons make a formidable team representing their clients. Call their hotline 24/7 at 1-800-LAWYERS for assistance. That's 1-800-LAWYERS for assistance from Science & Kirk. Motivated sellers and buyers of residential and commercial real estate, veteran auctioneer John Levinson has opened JHL Auctioneers, whose motive is to get the sale for you quickly and efficiently. JHL Auctioneers is your go-to resource for every type of real estate transaction. John Levinson and his team assess all of the seller's options and sell all of their assets quickly and for top dollar. JHL Auctioneers will work with buyers to locate and purchase assets that complement their portfolios. John Levinson is known in the Mid-Atlantic region as an extremely knowledgeable guy who works tirelessly to satisfy his thousands of customers. John has handled many deals for my family and friends. There is no one better. Call JHL today at 410-424-5456. You will be ecstatic that you did.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show.
Welcome back to Sports Maven, presented by Koons Ford of Security Boulevard. Now, once again, here's Bruce Posner, Sports Maven.
All right, welcome back here to the second segment of Koons Ford presents the Sports Maven this Saturday morning. Just for the record, we tape this Friday at 4 o'clock, so we don't have the Maryland results against Penn State. But looking at who's coming up, I think, I sure hope Maryland won, because coming up is Ohio State at home, which will make 6 ranked teams in a row to play the Terps at home. But and Ohio State's been playing great. When you go into Iowa these days and you beat Iowa on the road, you're playing some basketball. And they won 89-85 2 nights ago and last night. And so Ohio State comes into College Park on Monday, I think it's 7 o'clock. So, Mason, I want to talk with you about, let's talk about Maryland's football schedule before we get into the prop bets. It just came out along with the lacrosse schedule. We'll get into the lacrosse schedule later on, maybe next week. They do have Hopkins at home on March 13th, and they opened with Michigan on December the 20th. But what's your first look at the at Maryland's football schedule for the year?
Well, Bruce, the one thing that sticks out for the Terps has to be that game number 1, September 4th, West Virginia back on the docket. It should be a good game in College Park, and a lot of people hopefully praying that people will be allowed into Capital One Field at Maryland Stadium. It should be a packed game with 2 teams that have a lot to be excited about. After that, another one that sticks out is that Kent State game on September 25th, which is actually after the Terps will start Big Ten play. And then Murderers Row, Iowa, at Ohio State, at Minnesota, Indiana, who was a good team, Penn State, Michigan, and Rutgers. It's not easy. It's never easy since Maryland's joined the Big Ten, but this year it looks especially hard.
Yeah, it always looks hard. I'm not sure it could be any tougher than that basketball schedule, though. But so Locks has lost a lot of coaches. Do we have an answer on that one defensive back coach yet from Alabama, or is that still Carl Scott, or is that still up in the air?
It is still up in the air at this point. The Terps are expected, and I think they need to make a decision soon on this matter. A big vacancy that did get filled this last week, Bruce, I'm not sure if you saw it, is the recruiting coordinator, Taylor Edwards, the guy that I personally knew and actually got some information from and really, really liked talking to. Great guy. He goes down to South Carolina. Maryland brings in, the name slips my mind right now, but a really, really well-respected, long-time Maryland high school coach to fill that recruiting coordinator spot, strengthening the DMV for the Terps. Edwards, in case you're wondering, was a Southern State recruiter. He's done a lot in the SEC, and he goes to South Carolina.
Wow, Loxley must be doing something right with his hires. But I think that day that we went over to Loxley's house, I think you were there, and you met all the coaches who were his original staff. You could tell how much they loved Loxley. They really did. They respected him to no end. And Loxley has replaced these guys very, very quickly. I hate to see the continuity broke up, but, that's college football. But it's, we just have to deal with it. All right, I promised everybody we would look at the prop bets. I got a lot of Mason. I know you picked out some of the same ones. So let's start off with his Houston furniture dealer bet $3.36 million on the Bucks and got 3.5. Now, from what you've seen, is that spread 3 or 3.5, Mace?
So what I've seen is it's around that number. I've seen 3.5 more than 3. I did some research on it right before we recorded today, and it was sitting right around that 3.5 number. But $3.36 million, Bruce. The Houston furniture dealer, just so you guys know, is known for making sports bets like this. But boy, that's a lot of money to be putting on the line of one football game.
There's no doubt about it. And you almost wonder, he's a gambler because you could have taken about 8-5 and gotten the money line. The money line is, I think, 159. And it seems to me that that's a safer situation. In a game with the 2-point play being so prevalent today, games do deviate between 0 to 3 points. So the Chiefs win by 7 to 10 points is paying plus 450. That's a pretty good bet if you like the Chiefs, because can you see? I can't see Tampa blowing out the Chiefs because I really like Tampa to win, but I could see it happening if the Chiefs got on top and ran away a little bit. How about you? Of course, it's got to be less than 10.
I think you're spot on there. I really do. And plus 450, I love this number. And the next one that we're going to get to, Bruce, I also love. But plus 450 on 7 to 10 for Kansas City is key to me because I think if Kansas City is to win the game, I also like Tampa just like you do, Bruce. I think if Kansas City is going to win, it's going to have to be by 7+. I don't think they're winning a close game against Tom Brady. That's why I really like this number, and plus 450 is great, but let's get on to the next one.
The Bucks. Now, if they win by 1 to 6 points, they pay 340, plus 340. And that I don't think is as good as the other bet, even though I like the Bucks, because I see the Bucks winning an extremely tight game. In fact, the only way I think they're going to win is an extremely tight game. With Kansas City, you really just don't know if Mahomes gets rocking and rolling with Tyreek Hill, Hardman, and all the other weapons he has. So I'm not as crazy about that one.
Yeah, I really like this one. If you like Tampa Bay, I agree with you. I like the Chiefs one more. I like the plus 450 over plus 340. The reason, my biggest problem with this prop bet, and prop bets are really about funding games. They're not as much about, betting the spread or betting the money line, is if they win by a touchdown, you don't win your bet. And I always have struggled, and Bruce, you and I have talked about this. We talked about this off air. When you're betting like the over-under or even with the spread, and the team that you needed to win wins, but not by the amount of points, I've really always struggled with that idea, and that's why the 1 to 6 number kind of turns me off towards this one. But I think a lot of people will love it because it's the Bucks with kind of that boosted odds at 340, just like the Kansas City one at plus 450.
All right, the next one, longest field goal, not further than 54 yards. A 55-yard field goal wins the bet. And that one is 340 to 1 that there won't be a 55-yard field goal in this game. I don't know the history of Tampa, but what's your take on that one, Mace?
I do like this one. I don't think that Ryan Segup's really a long field goal kicker. He's a guy that's dead accurate, like under 45 yards. Now, Harrison Butker, I believe is his name, Bruce, he can nail him. You've kind of compared him up there towards, Tucker in terms of range, like Tim, Graham Gano, Justin Tucker. They're these big, long field goal kickers. Andy Reid would try something that was longer than 54.5 yards. So I don't like it where the odds are, minus 340. I don't think it's a great number for it because the kicker for Kansas City can really hit the ball well.
All right, how about Brady? His first TD pass is under 12 yards. And for that, it's about even money. You got to lay 125 to win 100. That's 5 to 4 odds. Who do you like? Which way you like that? Is it longer than 12.5? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I like Tampa Bay to have a really coordinated, strong drive down the football field with the first time they get the football, and I think they'll score. But I don't think it's going to be a long ball. I think the Bruce Arians mindset of we need to take shot plays constantly has kind of gave way late season to Brady's more methodical, drive-driven, something that would give you a touchdown pass under 12.5 yards. That's why I do agree with you. I think that's going to be a short touchdown pass from Brady to Gronk to kick it off.
By the way, everybody, there's about 400 prop bets on this. I mean, from how long the national anthem lasts or whatever. You pick the next one, Mace. We got a nice list.
Yeah, the one that I really like that you put on our list for this one is Rob Gronkowski's over-under in yards. 27.5, it's minus 115. The reason why I think this one is probably going to be one of the most betted on this game is I have the mindset that it's a Super Bowl and Gronk's really going to hit it off and he's going to go over 27.5 yards and maybe get a few touchdowns. What do you think? He hasn't been great all year, though.
No, but I like the way he rumbled on that one run that he had last week. I'm a over 27.5 yards at just about a pick-em situation. And I'll give you one more here. Will Mahomes throw over 40 passes? That, too, is just about pick-em.
I think so. And this kind of gives itself two different scenarios for all you football nuts out there. One of which is the game turns into a blowout early for Tampa Bay and Kansas City is forced to throw the ball a lot. The other one is if I think Tampa Bay is getting really cut up and Mahomes is just dealing, which is another really, a lot of people are really liking that method where Kansas City gets away with it, they blow it out. It takes a unique game for somebody to throw 40 balls in the NFL, but I think the Super Bowl, along with the weekend running game for Kansas City with some of the injuries that are going on, leads to Mahomes really having to throw the ball. And it also warrants a shootout, which I'm starting to like as we get closer to game day. I'm starting to think this one's going to be a high-scoring Super Bowl.
And your winner is still Tampa Bay. I know we talked about it the other day.
Yes, it is. I like Tampa Bay. I like them by a touchdown. Not really quite in that 1 to 6 range, but give me 7. Give me Tampa Bay. I think we're in for a really good game, though.
I agree with that. We'll let you go, and we'll be texting throughout the whole game. So let's enjoy that tomorrow, Base.
Will do, and thanks for having me, Bruce.
All right, this is Bruce Posner. You're listening to Koons Ford presents the Sports Maven. Believe it or not, we're going to switch to a little baseball when we come back. I got Stan the Fan coming on to talk about the King Felix trade and what this means for the Orioles going forward. Trust, honesty, integrity. That's the motto of Offit & Roth, PA, certified public accountants and business consultants. Clients of Offit & Roth get personalized quality service that is beyond comparison. Check out their extensive list of services at www.offitroth.com. Co-founder Alan Roth and his son Michael, a Maryland graduate, have extensive experience working with clients in virtually every industry. Call Offit & Roth at 410-356-6600. Baltimore, listen up. If you want crabs, you have to head to the Costas Inn on North Point Boulevard. There is no comparison in all of Maryland for the greatest crabs and crab cakes ever. Costas also serves unbelievable steamed shrimp, Greek salads, and steaks for lunch and dinner. Nick, Pete, and Costas Triantopoulos run the perfect restaurant to go with family and friends. Give Costas Inn a call at 410-477-1975 and tell them the Turp Talk guy sent you. Everyone over the age of 18 needs a primary care physician, such as an internal medicine doctor. Internists are scarce, and many practices charge thousands to belong. Not at Dr. Gaber & Associates, where there is no charge. Dr. Gaber & Associates celebrates its 38th year in practice with offices next to Mercy Hospital and in Pikesville next to LifeBridge. New patients are welcome. Dr. Gaber & Associates will return phone calls, respond to emails, and do what is expected. Dr. Gaber, a former assistant professor at the University of Maryland, Dr. Gitter, Dr. Eric Fisher, and PA Beth Ryan are available to see you. Dr. Douglas Shepard is on hand for orthopedic consultation. Call for same-day sick appointments. Give the practice a call at 410-653-8840 in Pikesville and 410-986-4400 in Baltimore. Parking is readily available at both offices. Is it a time for your family to have the services of a certified financial planner? Call Rob Weissman. Rob has provided financial planning, investments, and insurance to the Baltimore community for 32 years. Rob will provide a free consultation, review your financial situation, and make recommendations. You will be in the hands of a caring and certified financial planner. Call Rob Weissman at 410-868-6260. Rob Weissman is a registered representative of Parkland Securities, LLC, member FINRA. Kelly Exchange is your one-stop shop for individual and family health insurance coverage. On kellyexchange.com, you can learn about healthcare reform, find out if you qualify for a subsidy, get quotes, compare insurance plans, and purchase coverage. With over 36 years of experience in the insurance industry, kellyexchange.com is the only website you need to help you navigate the complexities and confusion of healthcare reform and purchase quality insurance for you and your family. Visit kellyexchange.com today. Mayer and Steinberg are insurance brokers representing Hartford, Travelers, Liberty Mutual, and Zurich, among others, specializing in restaurants, bars, law firms, accounting firms, and wholesalers. Workman's compensation is my good friend Paul Robinson's specialty, including contractors like heating, air conditioning, and landscape companies. Call them at 410-484-7000 and ask for Paul Robinson. Mayer & Steinberg is a 55-year-old insurance agency, family-owned and operated. They can also shop your current insurance coverages and in many instances save you premium. You can trust Mayer & Steinberg. My family and friends have done business with Paul and Mayer & Steinberg for years. There is no one better to represent you for your insurance needs. Call Mayer & Steinberg at 410-484-7000. In selecting a professional, you always look to the backgrounds of the persons involved, particularly involving their experience, competence, and established performance. In Maryland, there's one number one leader with regard to personal injury claims, and that's the firm of Science & Kirk. Science & Kirk have handled more auto accident cases than any law firm in the history of the state. The Science family is on their third generation of attorneys that extend all the way back to the 1920s. Donald and his three sons make a formidable team representing their clients. Call their hotline 24/7 at 1-800-LAWYERS for assistance. That's 1-800-LAWYERS for assistance from Science & Kirk.
Viner Four Gates Consulting is the source for your business technology needs. Our specialty is getting your IT problems fixed quickly and on budget. With Microsoft professionals, security experts, and a full-service help desk, we are here to help you. Get your business over the goal line with Viner Four Gates Consulting. Proud Terps for life, and since 1991, serving the Baltimore metro area. You can reach Viner Four Gates at 301-251-2900 or on the web at oneviner.com. That's the number 1, VIENER.com.
The only way to take the best national sports talk with you anytime, anywhere is with CBS Sports Radio 1300 on the radio.com app. Download it today. You're listening to a pre-recorded show.
This is the Sports Maven Show, presented by Koons Ford of Security Boulevard. Now, here's the Maven himself, Bruce Posner.
All right, welcome in, everybody. We've certainly covered that Super Bowl as much as we can in the first two segments, but there was big news on the baseball front yesterday with the Baltimore Orioles, so I bring in my go-to guy, my mentor, my buddy, my friend, and that's Stan the Fan. Stan, welcome in today.
I got a movie that I want to spoil the ending for you.
No, you can't do that anymore. You ruined a few for me. All right. Stan recommended a great one for me on Netflix, if you're fortunate enough to have it, called Long Shot. It's a documentary. I'm not even going to talk about what it's about, but it's a tremendous story, and it's the thing that makes it tremendous is it's 100% true. Yep. So if you had a chance to watch it. It's great. So, Stan, I looked at King Field since I did some homework last night after you told me about it, and this is one that you predicted. You predicted that the Orioles should and will sign Felix Hernandez.
Actually, Bruce, I wouldn't say I predicted it. I've written a column the last 2 years suggesting who I thought was going to be in the club's price range, knowing that they're not going out to sign, Bauer or, the hottest guys on the market. So knowing the price range that the Orioles are shopping, last year I suggested King Felix last year, along with Julio Iglesias. They did sign Iglesias. This year I brought back King Felix again based on the fact that although his numbers the last 3 to 4 seasons in Major League Baseball have not been attractive, he did go to Atlanta's spring training last year, and he pitched very well for about 12 or 13 innings last year. And then when the pandemic hit, at his age and with his family, he decided, because he was only signed for $1 million, this is a guy who's probably made $200 million in his career, he decided to take a pass last year. So I brought him back this year. I suggested who I thought they might be more interested in at shortstop than Freddie Galvis. I thought they might, the price for Adhiri Adrianza, who ironically signed with Atlanta, would be more to their liking, but they got Freddie Galvis, a better player than Adrianza, at a great price, and now they've brought in King Felix. The third player I suggested this year is still a free agent, and I do think there's a possibility the Orioles could be connected. He's a right-handed pitcher who performed with Houston for about 4 or 5 years, and he knows Mr. Elias. He probably knows Chris Holt, and that's Colin McHugh. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that that's a guy that they might have their eyes on that might cost $1.5 million to $2 million, but they'd have to guarantee him a major league contract.
Well, that's can be problematic sometimes, but they did not do that with Felix. He got a minor league contract, and they only signed him for $1 million. I'm sure there's bonuses in there if he pitches so many innings or whatever, but that's right up the Orioles' alley as they continue their rebuild. But is he developing?
What I like about King Felix, and I'm looking at his numbers right now. In 2017, 6-5 with a 4.36 ERA, only threw 86 innings. The next year, he's 8-14 with a 5.55 ERA, threw 155 innings. His WHIP was 1.4. He was 8-14. Then in 2019, he's 1-8 with a 6.4 ERA and a 1.53 WHIP. So you might say, what the heck did you see in him? It's not what I saw in him. It's that I think he's come to that point in his career where he didn't get to that point through injury. So he's never been forced, absolutely forced, to learn how to really pitch rather than go with power. And I think that Felix Hernandez, if he's equipped and mentally ready to sort of change his game plan, I think he can have sort of a second shelf life of 3-4 seasons in the big leagues and do pretty well, in that time.
Well, look, we've seen a lot of pitchers reinvent themselves, and that's what I was going to ask you. Could he be working on the knuckleball or some kind of backup slider or something that, he's not going to hit the high 90s anymore? But you look at a guy like Eckersley, he reinvented his whole career, and of course he became a closer, but is he working on pitches? Is that what you believe he's doing?
I don't think he's working on pitches so much. I don't think there's going to be a trick pitch here. But I think he's got to realize that he's got to pitch. He's got to pitch more up and down, over and out, inside, outside. He's got to do a better job at keeping hitters off balance because he doesn't have the 98 mile an hour fastball that he had in his prime. He might throw 91 or 92 now, which if you use your pitches correctly, sequentially and aesthetically, by going inside, outside, so the hitter never can sit on anything. I think he can come back and do fairly well. I'll tell you a funny story, Bruce, and this is I'm always amazed that when I go back and realize how long ago it was. You'll remember this. 1993, the once great Fernando Valenzuela pitched for the Baltimore Orioles. Do you remember that?
Correct. Yes, I do.
Okay. He was 8-10 with a 4.94 ERA that season. But there was a period of about 8 games in that season that his earned run average, and these were not if you add his best games up, it was a stretch of about 5 weeks where he threw 8 or 9 starts, and his earned run average was like 1.9, his WHIP was like 1.02, and he looked like Fernando Valenzuela. So one of the things I think is this guy can eat some innings for the Orioles this year, but if they get one good streak out of him and it happens to be at the right time, you could use King Felix to trade him to the Yankees in June or July, to maybe get a prospect for him or something like that. So I think there's an upside. You never know.
2 more topics I want to hit with you because we talked about them, and I thought one I never even thought about. Explain to everybody listening why there's a need for probably 6 starters this year. And you explained it to me, and I thought it was on the money.
Well, I'm writing that column right now for my February issue of Press Box. It'll be on the stands for close to 2 months. Last year, the Orioles, if you multiply 60 games times about 8 innings, which is what they did last year. The Orioles threw 518 innings of pitching last year combined, the entire staff. This year, they're going to be somewhere in the 1,450 to 1,500. That's like 800 or 900 more innings pitched they have. You look at who they have in the starting rotation, Bruce. There's no way that John Means, Dean Kramer, Keegan Aiken, maybe Felix Hernandez, the most you're going to get out of any one of them is probably 157, 165. That would be John Means if he misses no time at all during the season. So if you simply do the addition, they're going to have, I think, a 6-man rotation, but I think that 12 or 14 people will start games for the Baltimore Orioles this year. And I'm not talking about the opener where a guy comes in to pitch 2 innings. I'm talking about guys that they're going to need. And I think they'll bring up a lot of the young pitchers from the minor leagues. I think Bruce Zimmerman will start some games for the Orioles this year. I think Michael Bowman will start some games for the Orioles. I think that Zach Lowther will start games for the Orioles. And I still think they'll acquire one more pitcher that will pitch games for the Orioles. Remember, they also signed Wade LeBlanc last week. So they're going to go in to spring training with 9 or 10 guys that can start games.
Look, don't laugh at me, but it might be a function for Chris Davis. He can always throw an inning or two when the Orioles are getting blown out. I'm serious. He's done it. He did it in the past. You might find a need for that. Stan, the last two things I want to ask you. Are the leagues keeping the 7-inning doubleheaders? I thought that was such a great idea. And will the NL keep the DH this year? Have those two things been decided?
Well, it looks like the 7-inning doubleheaders are going to be back. I believe that the extra inning rule is going to be back, where they start the guy off on second base. Right. And I think they're going to have an expanded roster of 28 players for a good chunk of the season. It looks, the latest I've heard, it does not look like there's going to be a universal DH, which I think is both a shame and a bit of an outrage, Bruce. I think it's terrible that the working conditions of a professional sports league couldn't get ironed out in time for a fair bargaining opportunity for free agents that are in the game right now, like Nelson Cruz, like Marcell Ozuna, who have to have their contracts determined without knowing what the rules of engagement are.
That's unbelievable, and I'm so sorry. I think another year the NL would have got used to it. But Stan, real quick, we've got 30 seconds left. Who you like in the Super Bowl?
I like Kansas City quite a bit. I think 3.5 is a very fair number. I think they're going to. I think the drive for them to win 2 in a row, which hasn't been done in a long time, is going to be greater than Brady's drive to win it. I just don't think he's what he was in his heyday.
All right, we'll see. I do like the Bucks, but we'll be texting in that one. And
that's what makes a horse. That's what makes a horse race. I really appreciate you thinking of me, Bruce. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, well. You got it, buddy. Thanks so much. Remember, everybody, press spots. Pick up your issues. They're for free. And listen to all Stan's great stuff online. Press Spots Live. I think it's PressSpotsOnline.com. That'll do it for today. It's Bruce Posner. Have a great week, everybody. Go Terps. Everybody enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll be back Wednesday night with Koons for Terp Talk. Bruce Posner here with a message brought to you by Chesapeake Urology. Guys, if you broke your right arm, would you just say, heck, I'll live with it, and make do with the left? Of course not. So why is it so many men with erectile dysfunction throw up their hands, assume it's just a part of getting older, and choose to live with it? The experts at Chesapeake Urology have treatments that can help virtually all men resume a normal sex life. Whether you're 48, 64, or 84, their doctors specialize in ED, and most treatments are covered by insurance. Even if you've tried pills without success, the specialists at Chesapeake Urology can show you better treatments. Don't live with something you don't have to. Call Chesapeake Urology at 877-422-8237. That's 877-422-8237. Baltimore, listen up. If you want crabs, you have to head to the Costas Inn on North Point Boulevard. There is no comparison in all of Maryland for the greatest crabs and crab cakes ever. Costas also serves unbelievable steamed shrimp, Greek salads, and steaks for lunch and dinner. Nick, Pete, and Costas Triantopoulos run the perfect restaurant to go with family and friends. Give Costas Inn a call at 410-477-1975 and tell them that Turp Talk Guy sent you. Kelly Exchange is your one-stop shop for individual and family health insurance coverage. On kellyexchange.com, you can learn about healthcare reform, find out if you qualify for a subsidy, get quotes, compare insurance plans, and purchase coverage. With over 36 years of experience in the insurance industry, kellyexchange.com is the only website you need to help you navigate the complexities and confusion of healthcare reform and purchase quality insurance for you and your family. Visit kellyexchange.com today. What an honor it has been to be a spokesman for such an incredible organization like Koons Ford of Baltimore on 6970 Security Boulevard. My family, close friends, and I have purchased over 40 cars and trucks from Dennis Kolotsitz over the years. I have sent Koons many, many customers, and every one of them has heaped praise on them. What makes Koons Ford on Security Boulevard so superior is its hands-on approach in satisfying every customer's needs. Whether it's the sales staff, the service and body shop staff, Koons is a 100% caring dealer. The new and used inventory is incredible, and Koons believes in making every deal possible. Koons uses its fantastic reputation and its volume of business to get just about every deal approved. Baltimore, when you need a new or used car or truck, make sure you get to Koons Ford Baltimore ASAP. Call 410-298-3800. In selecting a professional, you always look to the backgrounds of the persons involved, particularly involving their experience, competence, and established performance. In Maryland, there's one number one leader with regard to personal injury claims, and that's the firm of Science & Kirk. Science & Kirk have handled more auto accident cases than any law firm in the history of the state. The Science family is on their third generation of attorneys that extend all the way back to the 1920s. Donald and his three sons make a formidable team representing their clients. Call their hotline 24/7 at 1-800-LAWYERS for assistance. That's 1-800-LAWYERS for assistance from Science & Kirk. Vision Source of Linthicum and Dr. Stephen Polikoff offer the latest in vision care technology. New wavefront guided technology creates high-resolution eyeglass lenses. Vision Source of Linthicum announced it is now using wavefront technology to prescribe eyeglass lenses that enable the patient to see in high resolution without the surgery. Dr. Polikoff uses the Z-View Aberrometer, the latest in wavefront technology, to quickly and accurately map a patient's eyes for irregularities that can cause vision problems such as distortions, glare, and halo around lights. This exam produces an eye print. The eye print is like a fingerprint of the eye, and each person's is unique. The eyes-on lenses are then made based upon your personal eye print. Dr. Polikoff, located at 413 South Camp Mead Road in Linthicum, has been serving the community for over 30 years. The practice specializes in optimizing vision and has never seen a lens in all that time that has produced results like the eyes-on lens. Call 410-859-3111 to schedule an appointment.
The preceding was a paid program, and the views expressed on this show do not represent the views of WJZ AM, Intercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
This is Baltimore's CBS Sports Radio 1300, 24/7 Sports. WJZ AM Baltimore, WJZ AM FM HD3 Catonsville, Baltimore, a radio.com station.